Hello and welcome to the next edition of the HP Discover podcast series. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host and moderator for this ongoing sponsored discussion on IT innovation and how it's making an impact on people's lives. Once again, we're focusing on how companies are adapting to the new style of IT to improve IT performance and deliver better user experiences as well as better business results. Our next innovation case study interview highlights how Full 360 is using big data and analytics to improve their financial operations. We're joined to learn more about that by our guest, Eric Valenzuela, Director of Business Development at Full 360 based in New York. Welcome, Eric.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, first off, tell us a little bit about Full 360 and the role it plays in the financial sector.
Full 360 is a consulting and services firm, and we purely focus on data warehousing, business intelligence, and hosted solutions. So we build, we consult, and then we do managed services for hosting those complex, sophisticated solutions in the cloud, in the Amazon cloud specifically.
And why is cloud a big differentiator for this type of service in the financial sector?
Well, it's not necessarily just for finance. It seems to be beneficial for any company that has a large initiative around data warehousing or BI. For us specifically, the cloud is a platform that we can develop our scripts, that we can develop processes around, and then that way we can guarantee 100% that we're providing the same exact service to all of our customers. So we have quite a bit of intellectual property that's wrapped up inside our scripts and our processes. So the cloud platform itself is just it's a good starting point for a lot of people, but it also has the elasticity for those companies that continue to grow and add to their data warehousing and BI solutions.
So, Eric, that sounds as if you've built your own platform as a service for your specific activities and development and analytics on top of a public cloud infrastructure. Is that fair to say?
I think so. Yeah, I think that would be fair to say. That's a fair assumption.
Cool. So, as you're doing this cloud-based analytics service, what is it that your customers are demanding of you? What are the sort of primary requirements you feel for them with this technology and approach?
Well, with data warehousing being rather new with adoption, Vertica specifically, there's a lack of knowledge out there in terms of how to manage it, how to keep it up and running, how to tune it, how to analyze queries and make sure that they're properly returning information efficiently, that kind of thing. So what we try to do is to supplement that lack of expertise, right? So
yeah, leave the driving to us, more or less.
Yeah,
you're the plumbers, and let them
right.
deal with the proper running water and other sort of application level intelligence.
We're kind of like that insurance policy, right? So we make sure that all the heavy lifting, the maintenance, the management, that your solution is going to run the way that you expect it to run. Mm-hmm. Kind of taking the mundane out, and then leaving the companies, giving them the time to focus on building intelligent applications as opposed to worrying about how to keep the thing up and running, tuned and running efficiently.
Mm-hmm. Now, given that Wall Street has been crunching numbers for an awfully long time, and I know that they've had, in many ways, almost unlimited resources to go at things like business intelligence, what's different now than, say, 5 or 10 years ago? Is there more of a benefit to speed and agility versus just raw power? How has the economics or dynamics of Wall Street analytics changed over the past few years?
Well, first, it's definitely the level of data, right? I mean, 5, 10 years ago, either you had disparate pieces of data or you didn't have a whole lot of data. Now it seems like, we're just managing massive amounts of data from different feeds, different sources, right? So, as that grows, there has to be a vehicle in order to carry all of that, where it's limitless in a sense, right? So early on, it was really just more or less, I guess I should just say, just a lack of the volume that we have today. But in addition to that, I think it was 10 years ago or 8 to 10 years ago, it was still rather new, BI. What it could actually do for a company in terms of making agile decisions and informed decisions. Decisions with intent, so to speak, right? So, fast forward a little bit, it's widely accepted now, it's adopted now. It's kind of like the cloud. When the cloud first came out, everybody was concerned about security. How are we going to get the data in there? How are we going to stand this thing up? How are we going to manage it? Those questions come up a lot less now than they do, even 2 years ago.
And while you may have cut your teeth on Wall Street, you seem to be branching out into other verticals, gaming, travel, logistics. What are some of the other areas now that you're taking your services, your data warehouse, and your BI tools to?
Well, it seems like we're following the trends, right? So, recently it's been gaming, right? We've got quite a few gaming customers that are just producing massive amounts of data. I think the airline industries that we have, the customers that we have in airline, now that they have a way to, I hate this term, but slice and dice their data, they're building really informed, intelligent applications to service their customers, right? Customer appreciation, it's built for that kind of thing. So I think, airlines are now starting to see what their competition is doing, so they're kind of falling on board and starting to build similar applications so they're not left behind, right? But banking and I think they were pretty much the first to really go full force and adopt BI, as a basis for their practice, right? So, finance has always been there, and they've, been doing it for quite a long time.
And so as the director of business development, I imagine you're out there saying, we can do things that couldn't have been done before at prices that weren't available before. That must give you almost an unlimited universe. How do you know where to go next to sell this?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of an open field. And, from my perspective, I look at, the different companies out there that come to me. At first it was a lot of education. Now it's just, yes, we can do this because these things are proven. We're not proving any concepts anymore. Everything's already been done, and we know that we can do it. So I think that it is kind of an open field, but we focus purely on the cloud, right? So all of our customers we expect that will be in the Amazon cloud. So by that, now it seems that I'm kind of teaching people a little bit more that just because it's cloud, it's not magic. You know what I mean? So, you still have to do the level of work. It's still an infrastructure. But, we come from that approach, and we make sure that, the customer is properly aligned with the vision of saying, this is not just a 1 or 2 month type commitment. We're not just going to build a solution, put it in our pocket and walk away. We want to know that they are fully committed for 6, 12 months. Otherwise, you're not going to get the benefits of it. You're just going to spend the money, spend the effort, and you're not really going to get any benefits out of it if you're not going to be committed for for a longer period of time. So there are some challenges still with the sales, with the business development.
And given this emphasis on selling the cloud model as much as the BI value, you needed to choose an analytics platform that was cloud friendly and that was also Amazon cloud friendly. Tell me a little bit about how Vertica and Amazon and your requirements come together.
I think it was purely a timing thing. Our CTO, Rohit Narmanath, attended a session at MIT where Vertica was first announced, and so he developed a relationship there. Soon after is right around the time when Amazon announced that they were offering this cloud platform, right? So it made a lot of sense to look at the cloud as being a visionary, looking at the cloud as a platform, looking at columnar databases as a future way of managing BI and analytics, and then putting the two together. So I think it was more or less a timing thing. Amazon was there; it was new technology. We saw the future in that. Analytics was newly adopted. So then now you have this columnar database that we can leverage as well. So blend the two together and start building some a platform that hasn't been done yet.
And what about lessons learned along the way? Are there some either areas to avoid or places that you think are more valuable than people might appreciate if someone were to begin a journey towards a combination of BI, cloud, and vertical industry tool function, what might you tell them to be wary of or to double down on?
That's I'm not really sure. I mean, we sort of forged our own way with that, right? I mean, we couldn't learn from our competitors' mistakes. We were the ones that was creating the mistakes. We were having to clear those up and learn from our own mistakes as we move forward.
So perhaps the lesson is to be bold and not to be confined by the old models of IT.
Well, definitely that. Definitely thinking outside the box and seeing what the cloud can do. Focus on more or less about forgetting about old IT and then looking at cloud as a new form of IT, understanding what it cannot do as a basis, but really open up your mind and think about it as to what it can actually do, from an elasticity perspective. I mean, there's a lot of Vertica customers out there that are going to reach a limitation, that may require procuring more hardware, more IT staff. The cloud aspect removes all of that.
Also, I suppose, allows you as a director of business development to go downstream. You can find smaller companies, medium to size enterprises, and say, listen, you don't have to build a data warehouse at your own expense. You can start doing BI based on a warehouse as a service model, pay as you go, grow as you learn, and so forth.
Exactly. I mean, small or large, those IT departments are spending that money anyway, right? They're spending it on servers, whether they're if they're on-prem, the cost of that server in the cloud should be equal or less, right? I mean, that's a concept. So, if you're already spending the money, why not just migrate it and then partner with a firm like us that knows how to operate that, so then we become, your augmented experts or that insurance policy to make sure that those things are going to be running the way you want it to, as if it were your own IT department.
All right, Eric, we're almost out of time, but I wanted to understand, in order for our listeners to better appreciate the relevancy of what Full 360 brings to the market for them, the types of applications that people have been building and that you've been helping them with. We're talking about not just financial, we're talking about perhaps enterprise performance management. What are the other kinds of BI apps? What are some of the killer apps that people have been using your services to do?
With specifically with one of our large airlines, the customer appreciation, the level of detail that they're able to bring to the actual plane, to the flight attendants in a handheld device on their customers. I mean, it's powerful. I mean, it's absolutely powerful to the point where you remember that. You remember that treatment that you got on the plane. So that's just one thing from me that I can focus on and think, that's something that you don't get if you fly a lot. If you go to, if you fly other airlines, that's just kind of some detail and some treatment that you just don't get. So I don't know how that could be driven if it weren't for, analytics, and if it wasn't for, technology like Vertica to be able to provide that information.
Well, great. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. You've been learning about how Full 360 has been using Vertica in the Amazon cloud to provide data warehouse and BI applications and services to its customers from Wall Street to the local airport. So join me in thanking our guest. We've been here with Eric Valenzuela, the Director of Business Development at Full 360 in New York. Thanks so much, Eric.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank our audience as well for joining us for this special new style of IT discussion. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host for this ongoing series of HP-sponsored discussions. Thanks again for listening, and come back next time.